Right, the problem says take 1 Singapore dollar and convert it into Canadian dollars. Okay, so you're going to approach this problem as a unit conversion. And there's a couple different ways that you can kind of attack it. The first is if you start with 1 Singapore dollar and you want to convert out of Singapore dollars. Well, the chart on page 9 gives you a conversion for Singapore dollars, actually gives you two, and you can use either one. They're both going to lead to the correct answer. So one is you can either say 1 US dollar is equivalent to 1.65 Singapore dollars, or you can say 1 Singapore dollar is equivalent to 0.60 US dollars. Again, either one is fine. They wind up giving you the same conversion. The only thing that you need to make sure of is when you're converting from Singapore to US dollars, what needs to go in the denominator in order for this to cancel? Singapore dollar. So if, let's say we take 1 Singapore dollar is equivalent to, and we look at the conversion, 1 Singapore dollar is 0.604814 US dollars. Okay, so we are able to convert out of Singapore dollars. We're now in terms of US dollars, but we don't want US dollars for our answer either. We want it to be Canadian dollars. So we have to convert out of US dollars and into Canadian. Okay, so again, if we treat our conversions here, we want to get rid of US dollars. So 1 US dollar, I'll put it in the denominator so that the units cancel. And we figure out how many Canadian dollars is that equivalent to. And based on the chart here, 1 US dollar is 1.1981 Canadian dollars. And so now as we multiply through, we're canceling out of the units that we need to remove. And so if we just take our product, 0.604814, multiply that across by 1.1981, hit enter, we get our answer to be 0.72463, or whatever, however many digits it asks you to solve. Okay, so the same idea is used for the Hong Kong dollar, converting it into New Zealand dollars. Just convert from one to the next. Okay, now we'd have gotten the same thing if we had done it the following way. So 1 Singapore dollar. So we could have said 1 US dollar up here is equivalent to 1.6534 Singapore dollars. And that conversion is still going to give you the same thing, and we could have done the same idea here. 1 Canadian dollar is equivalent to, and we could have found the equivalent in US dollars, 0.834655. So either of these, or any combination, even we can combine the different ones. It doesn't matter. Each one is has a unit conversion value of 1. They're equivalent values. All right, were there any other questions from 1.1 that you guys would like to see worked out? Yeah. The what? Oh, would I take that in here? Okay. So if I'm multiplying across the top, I have 1, and then divide by. Now, when you're looking to divide, you want to be very careful because you have these two different factors in the denominator. So you have a choice. If you treat each one independently, so 1.6534, and now when we multiply by this next factor, it's in the denominator. So if we were doing it individually, we'd not need to use division again. And because this whole factor, 0.84 or 834655 is in the denominator, so you get the same value that we did up here. And now the other way that you can think of that is 1 divided by, if you think of this as being a whole set of factors in the denominator, you can group them together with parentheses and think of it, these two are being multiplied by each other. So 1.6534 times 0.834655. Now notice, by grouping those in the denominator, what I did was I basically said multiply across the top, I get a 1, divided by the entire product of everything in the denominators, which would be 1 times this times this. So either way, it's going to give me the same numbers. You do want to be careful here, because if you went 1 divided by this number and then times this number, it doesn't register in your calculator that this is supposed to be in the denominator.